Summer travel season is coming, and you're going to want to save gas, keep down your travel costs as much as you possibly can. Here with us to give us some tips on that, Mike Quincy, Automotive Content Specialist, Consumer Reports Magazine. Mike, always good to have you here. Thanks for coming in. The June issue, Consumer Reports, you've got a whole section about the tips and the myths for saving gas, getting better mileage. And I love the first question, and it's so basic. What's the best way to cut fuel costs?
This is coming from a guy that really likes cars. The best way to cut fuel costs is actually to slow down. When you go from 55 miles an hour up to 75 miles an hour, you're making your engine and the aerodynamics work much, much harder, and you're eating up a lot more gas.
What about carrying gear, luggage on the car roof? We hear that the more you load up and kind of change the frame, if you will, that's going into the wind, impacts what you're doing.
You know, whenever you're putting a bike rack on the roof of your car, you're making your car work a lot harder. Your engine has to work hard to overcome this aerodynamic drag. So even an empty rack is going to cost you a few miles per gallon. We did a number of tests with some mainstream family sedans as well as some SUVs, and put racks on them and whatnot, and measured the fuel economy differences. We're looking, 4 to 8 miles per gallon less. I mean, even if you say, we're hopefully we're done with snow, right? At this point, we could say, oh, no more snow in Springfield. That's good. But if you spent the winter skiing and you had the roof rack on your car, but your skis aren't there anymore, but you kind of forget about it, just having the empty roof rack is causing you miles per gallon. So to save money on gas, take the roof rack off that you're not using until next season.
Okay, if we're not hopefully getting snow anymore, we're not sure this year the way things are going.
It's New England,
right? Right. What about the air conditioner? Running the air conditioner, a lot of us feel that hurts fuel economy compared to driving with the windows open. What do you say?
Well, there's always like good news and bad news. The bad news about air conditioning is, yes, you are running a compressor. You are going to see maybe a 3 or 4 mile per gallon drop when you're doing that. If you open the windows, however, you're really increasing your aerodynamic drag. Your car isn't slipping through the air as much, so it has to work. My opinion about this is really, run the air conditioner, especially when it's hot, because the driver stays more alert. The driver's more alert, the driver's going to be safer. Run the air conditioning. Don't worry about a couple miles per gallon difference.
Can using a special air filter improve your mileage?
In Consumer Reports tests, we found that it actually can't. Mostly because the computer electronics of engine management will adjust the spark and the flow of fuel automatically if there's any kind of a blocked filter. I mean, granted, you want clean filters, but while you might see a slight decrease in overall performance, you're really not going to see much of a difference in fuel economy.
You're out there driving, you're trying to get to the next station, which may be a little ways away on the highway, or maybe you're even trying to get to the next station has the best few cents less per gallon price. How far can you reasonably go when the low fuel warning light or that little gas tank symbol
It has happened to me. I'll admit,
Yeah.
I've driven, the light's glowing, and it might glow a little bit, and then it gets a little bit more intense and more intense. You really do need to take it seriously. One time I did run out of gas. Generally, when you're getting a low fuel or warning light, you probably have 1 to 2 gallons of gas, depending on how fuel efficient your car is. Maybe you get another 25, 30 miles or something like that. Generally speaking, when the light starts glowing, you probably need to start looking for fuel, but it's not probably as dire as you think. You still have a little bit of reserve left in there.
And what's the tip to get the most out of that last drop to get you to the station? You take it easy, slow down, moderate pace? What?
Definitely slow down. Definitely be open-minded to what brand of gas you're getting. I mean, when you're desperate, don't just say, "Well, I only have a mobile card," or "I only have." Just go to anyone and put it on your Visa card. And just also in general, some fuel-saving tips. Check the air pressure in your tires. Make sure it's at the right level, because low air pressure produces more rolling resistance in your tire, produces more heat, makes your engine work harder. So I mean, there's these kinds of tips and all kinds on consumerreports.org about saving money on fuel, and But isn't it funny? As soon as the summer driving season goes up, price of gas goes up. That's wacky.
Whole other story. But does running on empty, does just draining it down really low? A lot of folks say it's going to hurt your engine because of gunk you're going to put into the the system. What do you say?
I think that's a myth. We found that a lot of the fuel pumps are in the bottom of the tank anyway, and there's a number of filters either going from the fuel tank into the fuel system or another filter before it goes to the engine. So we'd probably take that myth and toss it and say it really doesn't tax the fuel pump any more than usual.
You're always doing road tests. We're off of gas mileage now. June 2014 issue tested a couple of interesting cars. Nissan Rogue. You called it Mr. Congeniality. Easy to drive, family friendly.
Because it's named after all the people at WGBY. No. The Rogue's a very popular SUV. It was just redesigned for 2014. When we put on our website that we were in the process of buying one, we got all these emails. When are you going to have the Rogue ready? And thankfully, we've tested our Rogue. Pretty good fuel economy. I think it's about 24, 28 miles per gallon overall. Good reliability, a good, smooth, continuously variable transmission. You can get a third row seat, although it's absolutely puny. It's probably about as big as a pack of Pez, but it's in that sweet spot of about $22,000 to $30,000. So a lot. That's one of the reasons why people are so interested in it.
You also take a look in this issue at the Toyota Highlander. You call it family sedan of SUVs. I got to read you some of the quotes. Say it's not flashy, functional, good reliability, frugal gas mileage, and good manners. What does that mean?
Good manners is that the past Highlanders usually had a very nice kind of soft ride at the detriment to more secure handling. The redesigned Highlander has a bit more tied down suspension. Maybe you give up just a touch of ride comfort, but you're getting better handling, better steering feedback. It's more of an engaging vehicle to drive. Hugely popular. The Highlander has been on top of Consumer Reports family SUV ratings, it seems like forever. We're really excited that this new model came out about 20 miles per gallon overall in the V6 all-wheel drive model that we tested. We also just purchased a Highlander hybrid in our test program. We're checking it in now. We're going to be putting through its paces. That really is like the king of fuel economy. We're thinking about 27, 28 miles per gallon overall in a good-sized three-row SUV. I mean, it's really quite a technological achievement.
Well, Mike Quincy, Consumer Reports Magazine. Always interesting to have you with us. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me on.